Next up for Leeds United is Coventry away tomorrow night, and we're going up against Frank Lampard's in-form Coventry City. So it's going to be a bit of a touch and go one. I'm feeling confident. I've just watched Daniel Farke's pre-match press conference that he did this afternoon. I've watched it so you don't have to. I've made some notes and it was a long one. It was 44 minutes. They really went on today about that transfer window, but we're going to get into it. I've started doing these videos on YouTube the last couple of weeks just because the short versions do really well on TikTok, although today's short version was about 4 minutes long, so I will try and keep this brief, but doing it on here just gives me a little bit more time to get into the comments and get into what was said by Farke and kind of give my reaction to it. And what I would love is if you guys can comment below and give me your thoughts on the whole situation and different aspects of what Farke has said, and yeah, your feelings ahead of the Coventry game. I want to really build this channel and make it as interactive as possible. So yeah, let's get into it because it is a little bit of a long one. I've got a lot of notes, but I'll try my best to do it in a well-structured kind of way. So straight up, Farke, the first thing he said was, we don't have to speak about the window now, let's just talk about football. And there was no chance that was going to happen because every journalist asked him about the transfer window. The first thing he was asked was, everyone else has strengthened, what about Leeds and what about Archer? Farke said, we don't speak about players that aren't at Leeds United. And he always says this. He said this for the last 3 transfer windows. He's always consistent about it. So I don't know why they even bother asking. He said it wasn't just a quiet window, it was a silent window. The main headline in his eyes is that he trusts his players and he trusts this group. Leeds United are top of the table with 63 points from 30 games. This group that we have now is good enough. And when you look at our starting lineup and our bench, and you just think, this really is a good squad. And people keep talking about, oh, injuries, this, that, and the other. But honestly, how good is the squad that we've got right now? We are so lucky. This is one spin Farke put on the whole transfer window that I absolutely loved, because the more I've done social media and been around Leeds fans and what they say on Twitter and Facebook and TikTok and stuff like that, the more I've realised is people just love the drama. They just love the soap of it all. They love the EastEnders Coronation Street of football, and that is the transfer window. And Farke put it bang on. He said, people love breaking news. They love deadline day drama. He's not a fan of this. If you want excitement, go and watch James Bond. And I just think that's bang on. That's it. People just love something shiny and new. That's what they want. They're bored. They just want something that's going to get them through the last few days of January. A nice shiny new player. He said, actually, and this is a really good point, it should be a positive sign if you don't need to use the January window. I don't know where it's kind of spun over the years that you have to panic buy, you have to do something in January, where actually, if you've got a good enough group that you don't need to do anything in January, is that not a good sign? Is that not showing that your club has sense, that your club's smart? But people will disagree. People will say, no, we've got no money, or we've got no ambition, this, that, and the other. That's just simply not true. If you need to make major changes in your squad in February, surely that's a bad thing. And again, I agree. Farke also said, when you are in our position, and that means top of the league, Leeds United, in the top 2, comfortably, little gap back to 3rd place, the main issue has to be keeping the players we've got now, because we've obviously got a good group that we're doing something right with. And we blocked all interest to keep our group together, our core group together. Obviously, we let a couple of the youngsters go out on loan to get some minutes, but other than that, everybody stayed. And I think that's massive. I know people are going to say, oh, that's just a spin the club are putting on. There was the leaks to the Mateo Joseph. Apparently, people were after him for 10 million. And Farke said he has rejected offers, or said we're not willing to speak about players to clubs. And if that's true, then I think that's great. And obviously you want to keep those players. There's no one knocking on his door wanting to leave. And that is part of the window as well, especially when you're in Leeds United's situation. It is tough to strengthen a team like Leeds. And the only place we can look is the Premier League. And when you're looking at the Premier League, there are players available on loan, but there's a reason they're available on loan. Because if they're not making a Premier League matchday squad, so they're not in the 17, 18 players, they're either coming back from injury or there's an issue there with their form, with their training, with the manager. There's an issue. So do we really want those kind of players coming on loan to Leeds United, disrupting the dressing room? I don't think we do. Do they even get involved anyway? They're probably just going to be on our bench. And are they going to drop to the Championship to sit on the bench? I don't think they are. Most players would rather play bottom end of the Premier League scrapping around than the top of the Championship, and that's just how it is. We did explore some permanent deals, he said. However, the January transfer market, all the prices are inflated, and for a player to tick all the boxes and be financially viable is really difficult. We are in a good position money-wise, but why waste it? Why spend money just to bring in something shiny and new to keep people happy if there's no need to? If it's not the right player, if it's not the right time, there's just no point. We need to do good business. It needs to be smart. It needs to be sustainable, and they've got to be the right players. We have no reason to be scared going into the final third of the season, is what Farke said, and I agree, because he listed some of the players like Gruev, Ampadu, Pascal Struijk. Even if you look at Dan James and Solomon, they've all been out injured at times this year, and we've been just fine. We are top of the league. We've managed. And they've been out, some of them for long-term injuries, and we've still been absolutely fine. And I think that's a big part of it, is we've managed to cover that, so we're going to keep covering that. Like, what are the chances of all of them getting injured long-term again and having 5, 6, 7 players out? I don't want to jinx it, 'cause it can happen, obviously. But regardless of what you did in January, if that happens, you're screwed, aren't you? So actually, I'm not too worried about that. We will get a couple of players being injured. We've got some Leeds fans who I swear are just looking for us to get an injury so they can say, told you so. They're really obsessed with the board not having ambition and Farke just sitting on his laurels. Oh, we're too cocky. No, we've just got a really good squad in which there's no need to mess it up by bringing in players who aren't going to play. That there's a chance that it messes up the whole dressing room. Look at when we went up in 2019-20. The only player we brought in was Jean-Kevin Augustin, and that went horrendously. He had no effect on the squad, and we went up. And I just think people need to just chill on that. And this is what we've got. Whether you like it or not that we've done no business, this is where we're at. This is the squad, this is the team, this is the manager. So we get behind the lads. He was probed, however, on the number 9 situation. Like I said, I'd have loved to have found the perfect number 9 to come in and even be backup. But we've got Peru, a proven goal scorer at this level. We've got Joseph, he bagged at the weekend, that's good for his confidence. And then we've got, obviously, Bamford, we won't get into that now. But that's 3 good options. And he also said we've got Nonto and Ramazani who've played at 9 before. And if the worst came to it, we could play them there. But it's just not going to happen. Finally, he got onto team news. In terms of team news going into tomorrow, the big news, well, there's no big news actually. Bamford is out as previous, but Pascal is fit and healthy. Got minutes last weekend, and they're not going to rush him. He is a key player for us, and we are doing really well without him. We've had multiple clean sheets, but Pascal is still a real good, valid option there, and I really rate him. I thought he was having an excellent season. But yeah, other than that, no one's injured, which is, touch wood, crazy to get to February and be in that position. He spoke of Coventry, gave a lot of credit to Robbins, who was there before, and always having Coventry in the mix, and he complimented Frank Lampard for the work he's doing at the moment. They are top of the form table. They've won their last 4 games, I think, and they're probably going to be getting towards that top 6. However, we're Leeds United and we're looking for top 2, so we should be going there and trying to take maximum points. We should be doing that. Part of me, the negative part of my mind, thinks, oh, maybe we do lose this 1-0. It's got that written all over it. But I want to take that positive 7-0 from the weekend and finally hit a good away performance and show what Leeds are all about. So I appreciate you guys for watching. This is everything that in the Leeds United world, all up to date ahead of tomorrow's game against Coventry. Please hit a like if you enjoy this video. Please comment as well. If you made it to the end, drop an MOT or something like that. And make sure you are subscribed. And yeah, marching on together.